Doing a little more work with William Nease's Solid. I want to talk a little bit about the technique that I use now for heavy cutting. For smaller wood, I mainly concentrate using the tip of the blade, not because it's most effective, but simply because I can use the tip. And you want to spread wear out over the whole blade, not just in one particular spot, because you just end up wasting the steel everywhere else. So these are little tiny light snap cuts, mainly wrist, a little bit of elbow. You can see they're done rapid fire, little pops. Now, interestingly enough, this generates a decent rate of fatigue because you're doing almost everything just with the wrist. But one of the nice things about having a blade of this size is that you can use it in different ways. So you can see now the blade is coming up higher. It's mainly being a shoulder now, and that moves the fatigue away. So there's an exaggerated motion of what I'm actually doing. So the shoulder is lifting the blade up, it goes loose in the wrist, and as the shoulder rotates it down, the blade is already moving, and the grip just sort of tightens and snaps the blade around. So you're getting mainly a combination of the rotation and a little snap cut at the end. So again, it's smearing the fatigue out, but pushing it mainly back towards the shoulder. Back now to doing some very light work with the tip. Now this is heavier stock, 2x2, pressure treated. Now the blade is now starting down, basically running parallel with my leg. And you can see it's a very exaggerated looping motion. So I'm using my shoulder and basically swing my entire arm around. And as my arm swings around, the blade follows with it, and there's very little work being done by anything else except just controlling the cuts. So this allows relatively heavy impacts, and it's focusing most of the work on doing essentially what comes down to almost like a shoulder shrug. And while this is a decently heavy blade for controlling with the wrist and the hand and the forearm, it's very light if you're just shrugging it with your shoulder. So it easily cleaves through pressure treated 2x2s. And the rate of fatigue here is decently low, again because it's mainly being shoulder driven. Now this is a little bit of fun, and mainly an exercise in precision. I'm not going to be going to get all the way through this. This is 3/4 inch OSB. But what I want to try to do is line up my cuts. And this is not really as easy as it looks, because again, if you look at it, I'm using a great big looping motion with the blade, starting off from being parallel to my leg, swinging it up around and snapping it in place.